Since the COVID days, some of the most popular places to move to in Florida have become master plan communities. And I believe that's because people are really yearning for community and connection. And so when people come to visit me here in the master plan community of Nocatee here in Northeast Florida, they're certainly also going to check out the most popular master plan community in America, as well as Florida in Lakewood Ranch, Sarasota region. Today, I'm going to let you know that I might be a little biased because I am a resident of Nocatee, Florida, but I think truly after watching this video, whichever master plan community you end up would be certainly a privilege. So let's get into it now. Okay, so let's get started in my computer. I'm going to go ahead and knock it right out of the park, starting with the geography of these two master plan communities. Now, Nocatee, the master plan community here in Northeast Florida, is located just in between Jacksonville and St. Augustine. So give or take about 25 miles from either city. And it is in Ponte Vedra. It is also part of Duval County as well as St. Johns County here in Florida. So if you figure a drive from Nocatee to downtown Jacksonville, it's going to be about 20 to 25 miles, and again 30 to 45 minutes depending what time of day it is. Also, again, from downtown St. Augustine, Nocatee is going to be roughly about a 30 to 40 minute drive, again depending on where you are located in Nocatee. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Is also on the Atlantic Ocean. Let's go ahead and take a look at Lakewood Ranch. Lakewood Ranch is just west off 75, and it is close to Sarasota and Bradenton area, as well as about an hour south of Tampa and St. Petersburg, Florida. So Lakewood Ranch is a little bit more inland, not as close to the beach, but probably about an hour drive from Tampa. And again, only about 20 minutes, 30 minutes to Sarasota or Bradenton, depending on which section you are in Lakewood Ranch. Lakewood Ranch covers both the Sarasota County and the Manatee County here in central West Florida. So with that being said, one of the big questions I always get from folks asking how close Nocatee is to the beach. Well, Nocatee is near the Atlantic Ocean. We're looking at about a 10 miles to 15 miles, depending again where you live in Nocatee. These master plan communities are very large. So you're looking at 10 to 15 miles, depending on where you live. And again, that can take anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, again, depending on where you live in this master plan community. For Lakewood Ranch, I did my research, and a lot of the beaches in Lakewood Ranch are a good 30 to 45 minute drive, since it is a little further out west with traffic. And it said online that the beaches are roughly about 20 to 25 miles to Anna Maria Island and Siesta Key. Now, with that being said, it takes a little longer to get to the beach in Lakewood Ranch, but these beaches are in the Gulf of Mexico and are some of the most beautiful beaches in Florida. A little bit of a different comparison for sure than the beaches here in Northeast Florida in Ponte Vedra Beach for Nocatee. The second comparison, I always get people asking how far is Nocatee from the closest international airport. And the closest international airport to Nocatee would be the Jacksonville International Airport. And again, that's just to pass downtown Jacksonville, and it's roughly about a 30 to 45 minute drive depending on the time of day. In comparison, for Lakewood Ranch, you have two international airports. You have Sarasota International Airport, or the Sarasota Bradenton International Airport, and you have Tampa International Airport. Sarasota Bradenton International Airport is 10-15 miles away, about 20-25 minute drive. They have some international flights, but then again, most of your international flights are going to be out of Tampa International Airport, which is about a 50, 60-mile drive, depending on where you live in Lakewood Ranch, and that's about a 60-minute drive. So those are the two comparisons as far as airports go. One of the big things I like to compare, obviously, is that since Lakewood Ranch is in the Sarasota, Bradenton region of Florida, it's more central western Florida, as opposed to Jacksonville, known as the Gate City of Florida. Nocatee is in the northeast region of Florida. So if you're living in Lakewood Ranch, most of the time your road trips are most likely going to be to Orlando, to Disney, St. Petersburg, Tampa, and again, some of our favorite vacations are certainly in Anna Maria Island, Siesta Key, and Longboat Key for sure here in the Gulf of Mexico. So some great opportunities for road trips if you live in Lakewood Ranch to enjoy that beach lifestyle and visiting those islands. Now, if you live in Nocatee, some of the most common places you're going to be visiting, obviously, is one of the more historic cities in the United States, known as St. Augustine, which is a 30 to 40-minute drive. And then, of course, some of the other favorite places to go to is Amelia Island and Fernandina Beach. You can even take a 4 to 5 hour drive to the Panhandle. 4.5, 5 hours to 30A on the Panhandle in Northwest Florida. Some of the other popular destinations are Jekyll Island in Georgia. Of course, naturally, you're going to want to take a trip to Savannah, Georgia. And of course, Charleston is another big destination. Sometimes we even drive as far as 6, 7 hours to head up to the Blue Ridge Mountains in Georgia as well. So obviously, the large difference there is Sarasota is very central Florida, so it takes a heck of a long time to get out of Florida if you're driving north. And Jacksonville, of course, is on the border, which gives you the opportunity to exit the state a lot quicker. But one of the big advantages of being in the southern part of Florida, and I always say if you're Orlando south, it's always going to be a lot warmer and a more tropical climate. So let's go ahead and check out weather in Lakewood Ranch as I am recording this here. It is now Monday, 5 p.m. and it's 64 degrees and sunny in Lakewood Ranch. And in Nocatee, to compare, it's about 56 degrees right now. So we're looking at about an 8-degree difference in temperature. Certainly in Nocatee here in Northeast Florida, we have a change of seasons. So it's definitely a little colder here in the Northeast part of Florida, as opposed to Lakewood Ranch is definitely more central Western Florida, more southern. You're going to get more a tropical climate and warmer weather in these regions as well. So if you're into warmer weather throughout the year, certainly you're going to have a better opportunity of finding warm weather here in Lakewood Ranch than you would in Nocatee. But again, it's very seasonal. In Nocatee in Northeast Florida, you're going to look at the colder months probably being January, February, maybe November. It's a very short season and it's not too bad, but certainly if you're into warmer weather, Lakewood Ranch would be your best bet. Okay, so now that we've gone over the geography of both of these master plan communities and their advantages, of course, due to those geography, locations, and weather, whatnot, we're going to talk about the difference between these two master plan communities. And immediately, what comes to mind in doing my research is that the two communities are the biggest difference between both communities is the size. So Lakewood Ranch is certainly been around a little bit longer than Nocatee. The idea was created in the 90s and development started back then in the 90s. And Nocatee began development in the 2000s, the early 2000s. So Lakewood Ranch has had a earlier start, but it is also a much larger community than Nocatee overall. So physically, Nocatee is about 20 to 25 square miles. We're talking 13,000 acres. Lakewood Ranch is more like 50 to 55 square miles and 30,000 acres. Now, Nocatee has, since it's a smaller community, I can confirm that there is about 10,000 residents or residences or built homes in Nocatee, and they are wrapping up around 12,000 homes. So Nocatee is at the end of the development and should be done by 2027. Lakewood Ranch, in comparison, I had a very hard time confirming how many homes were actually built in Lakewood Ranch today. I found one article by the Sarasota magazine. It was dated from 2020. They're talking that they had 18,000 homes in 2020, and so I had to configure from top best-selling communities and across the country. Lakewood Ranch is in 2023 did 2,257 homes, and Nocatee did only 586 homes. So I would say Lakewood Ranch is probably double the size of Nocatee. If they had, in this article, if they had 18,000 homes in 2020 and they were doing over 2,000 homes a year by 2023, 2024, I imagine they're probably closer to 2022, 24,000, 25,000 current homes compared to Nocatee, which is currently at 10,000 homes. Also, back then they said there was about 43,000 residents in Lakewood Ranch. In Nocatee, it's been said that we have a population of 20 to 25,000 residents. Now, again, Lakewood Ranch, this is a dated article in 2020, so I imagine they, from what I understand in my research, they have closer to 55,000 residents. So you have double the population, double the square miles, and then again, double the acreage. So definitely Lakewood Ranch certainly takes the cake as far as size and is more closer to becoming a city of its own with that many residents. And Nocatee is not quite there yet, although Nocatee is coming towards the end of development, and Lakewood Ranch has a long way to go from what I understand. So naturally, a larger community, master plan community, you're going to have more opportunities in Lakewood Ranch to purchase a home for sure. I wanted to take a look at that and just see how many communities were actually left in Nocatee to build. And I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, more or less 11 communities left in Nocatee to build or purchase. And those communities, again, some of them have very few opportunities. So again, like I said, they only have 2,000 homes until they are complete. I went to the Lakewood Ranch site, and they had 15 communities or villages, they like to call it, that were left to build in. And I also looked at the big difference in gated community opportunities. And here we have in Lakewood Ranch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 gated communities. In comparison to Nocatee, if you were looking for a gated community, you would have only River Landing opportunity, which is custom home built on the Intracoastal. And then you would have Coral Ridge at Seabrook, which is another electronic gated community, and then the Del Webb Nocatee, which is 55 and up. So only 3 opportunities to find a home in a gated community in Nocatee, as opposed to, again, what we saw here, 11 in Lakewood Ranch. So a lot more opportunities in Lakewood Ranch. Now, both of these communities have had massive accolades and awards. I think Nocatee just last year won best community master plan community to raise a family by niche.com, and Lakewood Ranch again has been running #1 community, top selling community in America for the last 5-6 years. Now, if you look here at movingtofloridaguide.com, the top #1 community in Florida was the Villages, which is a 55 and up community near Orlando. Sold 3,029 homes in 2023, and Lakewood Ranch is #2 with 2,257 homes. sold in 2023. And then, of course, Nocatee is number 10 with only 586 homes. Now, I believe those awards certainly contribute to the fact that Lakewood Ranch has sold a heck of a lot more homes. They have a lot more land, a lot more availability than Nocatee. Nocatee certainly doesn't have more opportunities, builds, lots left as they are nearing completion. So hence you will see certainly a lot more awards and notoriety for Lakewood Ranch for sure. I went ahead and did further research, and Nocatee, for instance, they only have one town center. Lakewood Ranch, in comparison, has 3 town centers. Nocatee has one public course that has 9 holes. It's really a public course that was established well before the master plan community, and it's not really part of the master plan community. Lakewood Ranch has 9 golf courses, so certainly a big difference there. If you like golf, there's way more opportunities in Lakewood Ranch for a golfer within the master plan communities, although Nocatee has plenty of amazing golf courses around the master plan community in Ponte Vedra Beach, the Sawgrass Players Club, and of course, plenty of courses in St. Johns County as well surrounding Nocatee. Now, with that being said, if you live in Lakewood Ranch, you can drive your golf cart within the community, especially if you live in a golf club country community. You can drive your golf cart within the community. But if you're driving on the main roads outside of your neighborhood in the master plan community, you have to be in a 35-mile-per-hour road or less. And also your golf cart needs to be registered with the DMV for it to be street legal to ride on those main streets that are 35 miles per hour or less. In comparison, Nocatee actually was designed with a golf cart road system throughout the entire master plan community. It has its own separate road system, so your golf cart does not need to be registered with the local DMV. Now, you ride your golf cart in the neighborhood in one of the 49 neighborhoods, but once you exit your neighborhood, you get on the golf cart road system, and your golf cart does not need to be registered with the local DMV. So Nocatee certainly is more golf cart friendly. Again, going back to both master plan communities, they both have plenty of social events, and that is the whole intention of a master plan community. You have the food truck Fridays, you have the fresh market in the town center of Lakewood Ranch, as well as in Nocatee. So they have all these events that master plan communities offer, but certainly Lakewood Ranch has a lot more commercial, a lot more restaurants than Nocatee, since it is much larger. So certainly if you're looking for a larger master plan community, a lot more builders, a lot more opportunities to purchase homes, you would certainly find that in Lakewood Ranch over Nocatee, since Nocatee is towards the end of development and is more or less half the size, if not less. Okay, so we've touched up on the physical location of these two master plan communities. We've talked about the physical size of these communities, and in doing so, we also kind of touched up on the fact that Lakewood Ranch certainly has more golf clubs and actually has country club style living. Nocatee, in comparison, does not have the country club living, does not have the golf clubs, if you will. They have what they do have, though, is the water parks that are pretty large in comparison to Lakewood Ranch. The Nocatee Spray Park is a massive water park with lots of water slides, a pool, and a full-on bar, and a little bit of dining, pizzas and snacks, if you will. And they also have the Splash Water Park as well, that is pretty famous for their lazy river, their zip line, and another nice sized pool where a lot of the big holiday events are held as well. So again, I feel like because Nocatee has more of these water parks, if you will,
we cater definitely heavily to families and younger children. I have 2 children that are under 10, and I certainly think that this is a plus for us here in Nocatee to take advantage of all these water parks and whatnot at any time. Just jump on the golf cart and hop over there on the weekends, if you will. Again, these are seasonal because we're in Northeast Florida, but throughout the rest of the year, Nocatee has a lot of community pools that if you're a resident of Nocatee, you have access to all of these additional pools and dog parks that may not necessarily be in your neighborhood, with the exception of a few communities that have their own private pool and club. There's really only 2 or 3. And so it appears to me that Lakewood Ranch has more communities, if you will, that have their own private pools, more country club living options as well, besides the golf courses. You certainly may not be able to go ahead and access other people's pools, and you don't have the water slides or the water parks. So it just made me think, well, you know, what is the median age for Nocatee and what is the median age for Lakewood Ranch? And so I looked up those numbers, and for Lakewood Ranch, the median age was closer to 51, and the median age for Nocatee is closer to 41. So I would deduct and imagine from the country club style living and the golf and all those other opportunities that there may be a few more retirees, and also the tropical weather. So you're going to have a bigger retiree community in Lakewood Ranch than maybe in Nocatee, although Nocatee does have 3 55 and plus adult communities. They have 2 Del Webbs and then a 3rd 55 and older community as well. So that is something to take into consider. Obviously, there's nothing short to do in Lakewood Ranch. As I saw here, they have music on Main, farmers market, ranch night on Wednesdays, polo events. So a lot of different events as well in Lakewood Ranch, just minus the water parks that Nocatee has, as I mentioned before. And so perhaps a few more amenities in Nocatee that are more derived to the younger age kids. As I said, my children being under the age of 10. I imagine when they're teenagers and they've lived here quite a while, perhaps these little benefits and water slides already, I can, believe it or not, they say, hey, Dad, we're bored. Can we go home? And it's kind of like bizarre because we've only been here 4 or 5 years. And if I was a kid and had all this at my fingertips, I would be out of my mind. But the truth is that it does get, you know, after it gets worn a little bit, and after a while, it's all about who's are their friends going to be at the water parks, more so than just going to the water parks after living here 4 or 5 years. So definitely, I feel like Nocatee is family life on steroids. Not to say that Lakewood Ranch is not. So that leads us into the next thing we're going to talk about, which is schools. Okay, so for families that are looking for a master plan community with amazing schools, the good news is that Nocatee, in the St. Johns County section of Nocatee, you have fantastic public schools. And in Lakewood Ranch, also, you have 2 counties there. You have some very good schools. As a matter of fact, I was looking at best school districts in Florida on niche.com, which I recommend you use these 2 resources I'm going to share with you today. That's niche.com and greatschools.org. But just this year in 2024, Sarasota County Schools took the #1 best school district in Florida. And then St. Johns County, which Nocatee is in, took the #2 spot. It's always been the St. Johns County has always been the #1 best school district in Florida, but we've had such growing pains that our grades have slipped a little bit. Now, just because Sarasota County schools are known for the best schools in the state of Florida, that may not mean they are all in Lakewood Ranch. So again, I'm looking at the overall map here on niche.com of all the top schools, and A lot of them are in different parts of Sarasota County. So just make sure you do your research when you're looking at schools on here to make sure that wherever you're moving to in Lakewood Ranch that you have that opportunity. But both are very family-friendly master plan communities. As we look at here in Nocatee, we have a lot of daycare and preschools available here in Nocatee. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I believe Goddard is now coming to the area as well. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 opportunities for daycare and preschools in Nocatee. In Lakewood Ranch, you have, I think there's preschools. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you 13, 14. I mean, you have way more preschools in Lakewood Ranch. Of course, it's double the size of Nocatee, so there are certainly a lot more preschools. And even so, I can at least say for Nocatee, if you're not, if you're moving to the area and you're going to need your children to be in preschool or daycare, you need to make sure that you get on those preschools list well in advance. Do not wait. And I'm speaking for Nocatee at the very least. And I imagine at Lakewood Ranch, for the good preschools and daycares, they probably have lists as well. So 2 major master plan communities, very family oriented, and so a lot of opportunities for schools. Now, the big difference I noticed in Nocatee, for instance, is that our elementary and middle schools, our schools are K through 8. We have 3 K through 8 schools, and we're actually going to have a 4th one. And so your students are not going to be doing elementary and middle school. In Nocatee, they're going to be doing a K through 8 school. Now, of course, they separate them within the building, the younger kids, the older kids. I know that because I have 2 of my children are both under 10. And so one is in one section of school and then one is the other because the other one's older. So in Nocatee, you're going to have 3 K through 8 schools and a 4th one coming. And you do have golf cart drop off, and they are pretty amazing schools. If you want to look at the ratings of schools, I highly recommend greatschools.org. And so I looked up Nocatee, and we'll go ahead and just put it in here, which is in Ponte Vedra. And that way you can see for yourself, no, not Ponte Vedra Beach, but Ponte Vedra. And you can see for yourself that we have K through 12 schools. And our high school is actually Nice High School, not Ponte Vedra High School. Ponte Vedra High School is ranked for Ponte Vedra Beach. Our high school is Nice High School, although you can get your children into Ponte Vedra High School if you live in Nocatee. They have 3 programs that your kids can apply to be in those schools. The Palm Valley Academy, which my daughter goes to, has a 9 out of 10. And then the other high school, public high school in Nocatee, is Allen D. Nice Senior High School, and it's also got ranked, greatschools.org ranked it a 9 out of 10. So a lot of the schools here in Nocatee are ranked pretty highly. Valley Ridge Academy, which is one of the 4 schools here, has a rating of 8. So they all have pretty high scores. Now, Nocatee does not have any private schools within Nocatee. There is some in Ponte Vedra and nearby. Some of the other private schools are in Jacksonville, so it's a little bit of a commute if you want your children to go to Ponte Vedra. There's also some in St. Augustine, but we do not have any private schools in Nocatee right now, and we do not have any charter schools. Now, I went to Lakewood Ranch's site, and it looks like they have elementary schools and middle schools. So definitely a little bit different than Nocatee because you have a separate elementary school and then a separate middle school. And then I went ahead and looked on greatschools.org and went ahead and typed in Lakewood Ranch. And I did notice that some of the schools had higher scoring than others. So if your considering that area, make sure wherever you are, because Lakewood Ranch is in 2 counties, make sure that whichever school your child is in, that you go ahead and go to greatschools.org and check out the ratings. But as you see here, BD Gullah Elementary School has a 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 7 out of 10. Now, I did notice Lakewood Ranch High School, the public high school, has a 6 out of 10 rating. Definitely Nice in Ponte Vedra has a 9 out of 10, so it had a higher rating for that. But I did notice also that Lakewood Ranch has a charter school as well. Here, Imagine Charter at Lakewood Ranch, 4 out of 10. So a lot of school options for Lakewood Ranch, again, being a much larger master plan community than Nocatee. I would definitely recommend going to these sites, greatschools.org, and making sure that you check exactly where you're looking to live in Lakewood Ranch, that you're in a good school if you're going to use a public school. And then I think if you're looking for private, you may be fine in Lakewood Ranch anyway, because they have a lot more options for private schools. They have Beyond the Spectrum, Newgate Montessori, Out of Door Academy, Risen Savior Academy, Sia Strings Academy. So they have a lot of, and they have a charter school. So you have certainly some options in Lakewood Ranch. So again, use your resources, greatschools.org and niche.com, to check out both master plan communities and find out what's the right fit for you and your children, which would be more convenient. All right, let's move on to the last but not least, but some of the more important things you also want to consider is your budget. So let's talk about cost of living. All right, so we're going to go ahead and talk about the costs of living in these amazing master plan communities. We're going to start with Lakewood Ranch. Here we are in the 34211 zip code. Lakewood Ranch has 2 or 3 zip codes that cover this master plan community because it's so large. And so I believe this is one of the ones where this zip code is one of the ones where the newer homes are. In any case, this is single family, 4-bedroom, recently sold. So we have actual comps. And then I put a 3-car garage because that's usually what I'm selling a lot of to families, a 4-bedroom house, 3 baths, 3-car garage. And so we'll go ahead and look at these solds. Here we go. We have a pool home, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, just under 2,500 square feet. Let's take a look at that. It's a nice home, sold for $1,032,000, and that's $416 a square foot, 3-car garage. And that is a 2021. So fairly new home, 3-car garage, nice looking home, young vintage, 2,500 square feet, $416 a square foot. That does have a pool in it, so you definitely have to take that into consideration. Pools these days, they didn't used to account for much, but now they value at about $100,000. So you got your white shaker, can't tell if that's granite or quartz, subway tile in the back. Gas stove, kind of like what we're used to here in Nocatee. Looks like a luxury vinyl maybe. It's got plantation shutters in it. So nice looking home. Looks like a resale. It might be a tile, wood look tile as well. But nice home, definitely a good looking home. So let's go ahead and see what else they have here on Realtor.com. Realtor.com is probably the best real-time MLS data, more so than Zillow. So definitely, if you want to find your data, go to Realtor.com. Now, here's one I noticed is new construction, says sold, $559, a D.R. Horton home. Now, I'll just tell you that I can tell you from looking at the website for Lakewood Ranch, you have Lennar, D.R. Horton. There are different tier builders, and these are lower tier builders. These are massive, large tract builders. So Nocatee doesn't have D.R. Horton. We used to have Lennar back in the day, but not so much anymore. They have higher tier builders, tract builders, such as David Weekley, Toll Brothers, and some really nice local semi-custom. And then, of course, the custom builders. So we don't really have a D.R. Horton. So if you're looking for If you're trying to get into a lower price point, then definitely I think Lakewood Ranch would be an opportunity, because we don't have D.R. Horton in Nocatee. So there you go, a 2023 build for $221 a square foot, 3-car garage by D.R. Horton. So that right off the bat you will not find in Nocatee. So you can see that here in Lakewood Ranch. Let's go ahead and continue here. This was sold January 30th. Nice looking house, 4-bedroom, 3.5, 2,740 square feet. Beautiful home. And that one is around $390 a square foot on a 1/4 acre. So decent house, 3-car garage, very nicely done. No more pictures, so hard to tell there what the finishes are on it. So it's really hard to price out these homes sometimes, because you got to make sure you're comparing apples to apples. So we see D.R. Horton in the 200 range, and now we're seeing other homes in the 400 square foot range. These are all new construction. Let's see, this one sold in January 19, 2024. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, just under 2,400 square foot. It's in the Bradenton section. This is a 2021. It sold at $380 a square foot. Nice looking house. Again, we're seeing these higher tier builders. This again has a pool. So we're seeing between the upper 300s to $400 a square foot. Nice big tiles. Nothing too crazy, but your standard beautiful view with a lake view and homes across from there. It looks like quartz countertop subway tile. So $390 a square foot for a 2021. Let's continue. See what else we got here. Here's another one, only $690,000 for a 4-bedroom, 3-bath in Lakewood Ranch. Let's click on this one. And this one is a 2016 build, and it's $280 a square foot. So you definitely have some opportunities in Lakewood Ranch to pick up an older home or a D.R. Horton in the 200 square foot range. And then there seems to be a complete swing to high-end pool homes in the $380 to $400 square foot homes. So definitely a lot of different offers. There's a granite, nothing too fancy schmancy there. But again, you're getting a nice 4-bedroom, 3-bath home for under 2,500 square feet on a 1/4 acre lot for $280 a square foot. Not bad. All right, let's look at some of their high-end stuff. Can we see something here in the high-end area? This one is sold December 31st. This is for $1.9. $598 a square foot. So I don't see pictures on this one, but it's a 3-car garage built into 2023, just under $600 a square foot. So clearly some high-end stuff. That's 3,300 square feet. So quite a swing on options here in Lakewood Ranch for sure. There's a pool home, nice looking home, Spanish tile, sold December 28th. What is this one at? That is at $424 a square foot, so 2020. So we definitely have quite an array of options here. Nice pie-shaped lot. So it looks like Lakewood Ranch really has a lot of opportunities to find something, a nice pool home in the upper 300 to 400 plus square foot range. And this is a 2020. It's got preserved views, 3-car garage. So definitely nice. So, okay, let's go ahead and take a look at Nocatee. Of course, I'm really familiar with this market because I'm here. This is sold in February, just under 3,200 square feet. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, just under 3,200 square foot. Built in 2010, so this is an older vintage for Nocatee, one of the definitely older vintages for this area. And this went for just around $299 a square foot for a 2010. And it's a stucco home, tiles, very well updated. So this is definitely an opportunity to see something in Nocatee in the lower price point, those older vintages around 2010. You're not going to see a whole lot under $300 a square foot. So this is definitely an anomaly. So here we go. These are a younger vintage home. This is a 4-bedroom, 4.5 bath, 33 square feet, 3-car garage, built in 2020, and that is around $402 a square foot, 1/4 acre lot. And let's see, nice looking home, looks like an ICI build. It does have a pool home. So kind of a similar price point to Lakewood Ranch for a pool home that has some pretty modern features here. White shaker cabinets, farmhouse sink, granite sliders, and a really nice lake to preserve view. So that's a beautiful home for Nocatee, $400 a square foot. Let's see, this one is Park Bluff Circle, 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath. This is a 2937, just under 3,000 square feet, built in 2019, and that's a 3-car garage, and it is sold at $318 a square foot. So yeah, you're seeing similar pricing here in Nocatee as you did Lakewood Ranch. It all depended on the builder, the neighborhood, and the lot that you're on. So in Nocatee, you're going to see around $300 to $450 a square foot. Of course, we have custom homes on the Intracoastal that go past the $3 million range if you want a custom home on the water. But Lakewood Ranch seems like you have a higher amount of builders to choose from. So you can find yourself a D.R. Horton in the 200 square foot range. And then, of course, you can find luxury homes in the 400 plus square foot range. So both communities have quite a swing of housing to choose from, affordability factors from all different angles. So let's go ahead. I went ahead and just looked at zerodown.com, cost of living in Nocatee, and see if we can get a little more information there. So Nocatee is part of Jacksonville metro area, which is ranked 132 out of 273 cities across the U.S. in terms of cost of living. Cost of living in Nocatee is estimated to be 94% of the national average, making it an average U.S. city. Let's see here. I notice rent, that must be around $18.48 average. Definitely a little more. That must be for an apartment, because definitely to rent a home here, it's going to be in the 3,000 plus range. Total amount of expenditure and pre-tax income required is $99,000. Post income $83,000. Median household income in Nocatee is $128,000. Median individual income is $64,000. So definitely a high median household income for Nocatee, for sure. Average rent is $18.48 for an apartment. I would say that says 2-bedroom. I'd say it's probably a little bit higher than that for an apartment. And homes again will be at $3,000 plus for 3-bedroom home and up. Median home price in Nocatee is $735,000, which is $313 a square foot. And as I said before, as we were looking at houses on Realtor.com, you're going to find homes around $300 a square foot and up for Nocatee, unless, of course, we're talking single family homes. So 313 is median. They're saying that we saw about $300 on the low end, 420, 430 on the high end. And the cost of living index for housing, estimated cost of housing in Nocatee to 94.5% of the national average. So median house is $735. All right. So let's go ahead and run over to the cost of living in Lakewood Ranch. So Lakewood Ranch is ranked 61 out of 273 cities across the U.S. In terms of cost of living. 106% of the national average, so 6% higher than the national average.
22% higher than the national average on the cost of housing. Rent seems a little bit higher here than it did in Nocatee. Pre-tax income is also $109,000, and required post-tax income is $92,462. So let's go back here to Nocatee. So Nocatee is cost of living is 5% lower than the national average, and housing prices compared to the national average, they say, is 6% lower. So I don't know. Pre-tax income in Nocatee is $99,083 post. Required pre-tax income in Lakewood Ranch is $109,000 and $92,000 post. So it seems like the cost of living in Lakewood Ranch is a little bit higher. Total annual expenditures in Nocatee is $83,000. In Lakewood Ranch, it's $92,000. Median household income is $110,000 in Lakewood Ranch. In Nocatee is $128,000. Median individual income in Lakewood Ranch is $48,000. Median individual income is $64,000 in Nocatee. So let's keep going down here. So average rent in Lakewood Ranch is a little bit higher. It's 41% than the average in the U.S. Let's see, rent in Nocatee is 25% more than the national average. Median home price is around $357 a square foot, and the median square foot in Nocatee is $313 a square foot. So it looks like the cost of living in Lakewood Ranch is just a little bit higher in Lakewood Ranch than Nocatee. I wouldn't take these numbers literal, but I'm just giving examples off of this website. I didn't come up with these numbers, but definitely you're going to have more options in Lakewood Ranch for different price points on housing, because they have more tiers of builders, and they also have more inventory, and Nocatee's only got really 2,000 homes, and a lot of those are villas and condos. So we don't have really a lot of housing left. So based on supply and demand, you're limited on what you can find in Nocatee. Also, Lakewood Ranch is again established in the 90s, so you can definitely find an older home for even cheaper. In Nocatee, the older homes you're going to find are more around the 2000, maybe 2009, 2010. So you're going to have more options in Lakewood Ranch cost-wise, but it seems like Lakewood Ranch might be a little bit more expensive to live in. I went ahead and took a look at insurance costs in Lakewood Ranch just for the heck of it. I did a 4-bedroom, 4.5 bath, 3,600 square foot house, valued brand new construction around $1.5 million. And I went ahead and got an insurance quote from my local insurance agent that's a broker that works in those areas as well. In insurance, home insurance for this house, which is a beautiful home, $1.5 million, the coverage, and we're talking very basic coverage here, was roughly around, I believe the premium was $2,400 for home insurance with hurricane insurance. And then it's in a flood X zone, meaning you're not required to have a flood insurance, but I always tell my folks I suggest getting flood insurance. You just never know. And so that additional flood insurance to that policy for the same house was around $800. So total flood insurance and home insurance and hurricane insurance for this home that is a 4-bedroom, 4.5 bath, 3,600. So you're looking at around $3,200 a year for insurance, which is pretty good. And that's on the Lakewood Ranch area. And that's a pretty good insurance rates based on the rest of Florida. That's because Lakewood Ranch, again, is more west. It is inland from Sarasota and Bradenton, away from the coast. So you're getting better rates on insurance because you're inland. And so a house like this
In Nocatee, similar. I can go off the top of my head because I've gotten so many insurance quotes. And again, this is my opinion. Please don't take this literally. But a home like this would cost probably about $500 less a year for home insurance and flood insurance. So give or take, if this one's $3,200 for a 3,600 square foot house, flood and hurricane insurance, home insurance, you're talking $3,200. 3,400. I would say the same house would cost about $3,000 in Nocatee to insure. And again, we're not as susceptible to hurricanes because Lakewood Ranch is near the Gulf Coast. You're going to certainly have more hurricanes on that region. And if you haven't watched my video, Jacksonville, Florida hurricanes, do we get them? I did some studies by insurance companies that show where where most susceptible hurricanes are in the state of Florida. That's at the Gulf Panhandle, and then Southwest Florida and Southeast Florida. So Lakewood Ranch is inland and more central, so not as susceptible to hurricanes because it's inland. So you're getting a better insurance rate, again, in the $3,000 range. In South Florida, my insurance would have been double that, if not triple, if you're near the beach. And then and then the Jacksonville and in the Nocatee, Ponte Vedra area, anything north of St. Augustine, you're also going to get a better insurance rate. So both communities have great opportunities for home insurance, being a little less for the state of Florida, but the cost of living is not cheap. It's definitely above the national average to own a single family home in these areas. Okay, so we finally wrapped it up. We have now done the full comparison of Nocatee here in Northeast Florida and Ponte Vedra outside of Jacksonville, and Lakewood Ranch in the central western section of Florida between Tampa and Sarasota on the Gulf of Mexico. Two completely different master plan communities, yet a lot of similarities. The underlining thing that makes them completely alike is that they are master plan communities that are connecting families, multi-generational, creating a community lifestyle that people are loving and are attracted to and want that close connection. So big differences we talked about, obviously, is physical location. One is in the Northeast Florida, has a change of seasons. One is more central western, more tropical, less change of seasons, a little bit warmer. Physicality, Lakewood Ranch is almost 2.5 times bigger than Nocatee. We're talking physically, population-wise, homes, builders, etc. So Nocatee is definitely a little bit smaller than Lakewood Ranch. Nocatee is also towards the end of development. Lakewood Ranch is still going fully strong. We talked about the amenities. Nocatee has more water slide parks and a more comprehensive golf cart road system that even you can drop off your kids at the schools. And then, of course, in Lakewood Ranch, you have more options for country club style living with polo clubs, and it has more shopping centers. They have 3 commercial centers instead of 1 in Nocatee. So way bigger and a lot more opportunities for commercial. Not as a comprehensive road system for golf carts, although they have country club living and 9 golf courses. So completely different in that retrospect. Nocatee has the water slide parks that Lakewood Ranch doesn't have, which might appeal to the youngins, if you will. And then finally, we talked about schools. Lots of options in both areas. Both have great ratings for schools. Lakewood Ranch has other options since it's larger as far as charter schools and private schools. And then Nocatee has more of a K-8 school rather than a elementary middle school model that they have in Lakewood Ranch. And we talked about the cost of living. And of course, they had their pros and cons there. definitely Lakewood Ranch has more of a variety of builders and options at this point of making this video in 2024. As Nocatee is coming towards the end of development, we do not have the DR Hortons and the Lennars of the world. So if you're looking for that tier builder or price point, you won't find it in Nocatee, but you have more of those options in Lakewood Ranch. Overall, the cost of living might be a little bit higher. Home insurance is a little higher in Lakewood Ranch. But overall, both master plan communities are amazing options to have here in Florida as people are still migrating to the area. I truly enjoyed doing this video, and if you're still sticking around and you found value and you haven't subscribed, please do. And of course, if you're moving to Florida, please check out the description or the comment below this video. Make sure you see that my number's there, my email, or my you can text me as well, and I'll be glad to be your resource of choice. And if you're coming to move to the Nocatee area or visiting, please reach out. Give me advance notice. I do book out pretty quickly. And then, of course, if you're thinking about going down to the Lakewood Ranch area, please let me connect you with one of my associates, one of my partners in that area, so that you know that you're in good hands. I enjoyed making this video. My name is Greg DiTullio. Check me out in my description below and check out my next video. I'll see you there.